Good evening and welcome to the Pre-Construction Workshop that's hosted by BART Small Business Support Services Program. My name is Javier Pruitt-Hill. I'm the Program Administrator for the SBSS program. The Pre-Construction Workshop is for 15 LK 1A, the Market Street Escalators Renovation Project. The purpose of the Pre-Construction Workshop is to promote team building internally and externally. That's between the general contractor, the subcontractors, the BART construction management team, and OCR. So the Small Business Support Services Program is here to facilitate that. Next slide, please. So a few housekeeping items. We have our agenda, and at the conclusion of my opening, we will continue with Mr. Harry Overstreet II. He is our SBSS project administrator on the post-award side. He'll provide the objectives of the pre-con workshop and also some program services. Then we have Mr. Mark Dana, who is the BART PM, and Mr. Win Wong, who is the resident engineer, followed by the Office of Civil Rights team. We have Ms. Kay Sin with labor compliance. We have Mr. Tim Laurent, our contract compliance unit, and we have Mr. Fernando Flores from our performance and data analytics unit. Followed by the Office of Civil Rights, we have Mr. Matthew Guapel, who is the project manager from Schindler Elevator Corporation. And at the conclusion of our agenda, folks, we will have an opportunity for questions and answers facilitated by my colleague, Harry Overstreet II. With the questions and answers, if you have questions during the presentation itself, feel free to go ahead and type those questions in the chat box that Michael Reyes had referenced. Next slide. The purpose of the Small Business Services Program is to increase the number of small businesses winning BART construction contracts as primes and subs. The second purpose is to also increase the success rate for those small businesses currently working on BART projects. It's important to note that the SBSS program is completely free of charge to the small business. There are two components to the program. You have the pre-award component and you also have the post-award component. Both components of the program are, again, absolutely free. Next slide, please, Michael. The pre-award and the post-award components both provide technical assistance to small businesses supporting their success in winning BART contracts, and for those small businesses currently already working on BART projects. So again, an important note is it is completely free to the small business and it does not impact the project's bottom line. Another item to note is that the SBSS team will not complete any of the work for the small business. However, and not limited to, we will provide coaching, the understandings of BART's pre and post-award mechanics, and provide one-to-one technical assistance and workshops as well. So in summation, the SBSS program is here to support small businesses on the front end, on the pre-award side, and also on the post-award side. So if you see here at the slide in front of you, we have a list of different services that we provide assistance. So on the pre-award side, we will help small businesses obtain their certification. We'll help with bid preparation, facilitating relationships between the primes, and also most importantly is the statement of qualification and how to market yourself. On the post-award side, we help with post-award negotiations. We help with capacity building, right? So maybe you need some staffing resource assistance, maybe some financial assistance as well, change orders, invoicing, submittals, etc. All right, so if we go to the next slide, please. Here's some key contact information for the Small Business Support Services program. Again, myself, Javier Pruitt-Hill. I'm the program administrator for the program. And we have the pre-award project administrator, which is Mr. Paul Pendergast. And we have on the post-award side, Mr. Harry Overstreet II. So I'm going to introduce my colleague, Mr. Harry Overstreet II. Next slide, please. So Mr. Harry Overstreet II, again, he administers our post-award program. One very important item to note about Harry is he comes from a long line of small business owners in his family. He's very passionate about the work that we do here at BART and for our program. And in addition, Harry's responsible for the creation and development of this pre-construction workshop. So please welcome him, and he has a great deal of knowledge to offer us on the post-award side. Harry.
Well, thank you, Javier. Thank you for that introduction. I have joked that I was born and raised on small business money. My father's an architect in the area and has been long practicing, so I've been around. So I'm very sympathetic to the plight of our small businesses and understanding many of the basic needs, just the importance of performance, and I understand personally the risk that they take in the construction field in taking on these projects. So I want to thank you for that introduction. Next slide, please, Michael. So, so talking about just quickly about the origin of this workshop. Having been around BART, I've seen how BART works with general contractors at the beginning of a project, and how they introduce all of the resources that are available to general contractors. Because of course, BART wants everyone to succeed. I essentially took this model and tried to apply it to the small business environments, so that small businesses who often feel isolated and alone understand that BART does care, which is why BART has employed us in this program, and that BART wants their success. The pre-construction workshop is designed to promote team building between the general contractor, the subcontractors, the construction management team, and the Office of Civil Rights, including the Small Business Support Services team. The goal is to help contractors understand the BART environment, identify the available resources to help effectively deliver the construction projects. And at this workshop, the key entities in BART's construction contracting process will discuss their roles and responsibilities and help to establish the lines of communication to promote problem solving for success. The overall goal is to enhance the efficiency and help ensure the projects go well. The Allen Group has a team of BART REs who are very experienced in the BART contracting process. The RE specifically who will be working on this project is Luis Paez. Luis Paez has 30 years of experience in construction. I don't know if he wants me to tell his age. He's been around for a while, but he has lots of experience and is available to help with the specific requirements and to give guidance to that. Next slide, please. So in the area of support, we've been able to support, I mean, needless to say, there's a wide variety of BART procedures and process required to complete their projects. In front of you is just a list of some of the different forms and processes that we've been able to help with. Everything from schedule of values and invoicing procedures, RFIs, change notices, baseline schedules. I'm kind of skipping by because it's all I'm sure everybody's very familiar with a lot of these forms and has been a pain in the neck to probably many. Next slide, please. We've given a number of workshops designed to help with just about every aspect of the construction process. There are more coming. Getting ready for successful contract delivery. is designed for well, for small business generals and subcontractors, but gives an idea, an overview of the BART environment and some of the procedures required. We've assisted with, well, there's another workshop that we did about invoicing and the billing process. Of course, we know that cash flow is essential to small businesses. You know, we know that many don't have the deep pockets, so you know, timely billing is critical. We've Know Your Rights, Stop Payment Notice, and Subcontractor Bond Rights was a great workshop that was given by Ramiro Salazar from BART's legal department, which was able to identify or help small business subcontractors understand where they stand in BART's environment relative to being a subcontractor, you know, and just being able to identify or to show BART that they exist on a contract. We're currently working on a time impact evaluation workshop, and actually that workshop invitation will be coming out shortly for that. That'll be on the 29th. And then we have another critical submittals workshop coming up in the near future after that, probably next month. Next slide, please, Michael. We've recently launched our Yes platform. Michael, if you'd be so kind as to click the link in step 1, and then we can show them briefly the page of the Yes platform. Thank you. That's a live link that should hopefully take us there. But there's a website that has a listing of there we go, various courses that's live now, where you can go online and get educated, and some of the previous workshops are there. And so that link will be included in the presentation, of course, and we send that out to you. Thank you, Michael. If we can go back to the presentation. Thank you for handling that so well. I know I didn't brief you on that ahead of time. So, and so that's our training platform with online assistance. Next slide, please. And then also, because we want to keep you working, this is something that we've been working with on our pre-award side and putting out to the public, making everybody aware of BART's large development. They'll be moving their headquarters. And so just also understanding that aside from completing the projects that you have now, we know that there's constantly a need for new projects. So we're very happy to work on pre-award and post-award. So we want to help you get new work. We want to help you complete the work successfully. And that's what we're here for. Next slide, please. So now I want to introduce Mark Dana, who is the project manager from BART, who's handling this project. I was trying to keep my spiel short because the key is for the contractors to meet their general and talk about the information on the contracts. And next up, of course, is Mark. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Harry, Mr. Overstreet II. One correction or a modification to what Harry said is our resident engineer is Wen Wong of HDR. Luis Paez truly is a very competent and great resident engineer from Allen Group, and he'll be administering our contract for the Market Street Canopies contract. But for this contract, we have Wen Wong, who has been with HDR for a little bit. He's been around for quite a while. And he's also very competent. We enjoy working with Wen as well. And his team from HDR, including some folks like Vamsi Pinaminelli from VSCE, and Scott Broder, recently acquired from Muni, who's actually retired, but we pulled him in to do some senior inspector work. I myself am from BART. I'm the project manager, and I'm from planning, development, and construction. We call that PD&C, and we're a group of engineers that do the project management, group management, and then our executive manager, Carl Holmes, who some of you know is our lead in PD&C. On this contract, the escalator contract, we've got 41 escalators going in, as you all know. 23 of those are in the street. 18 of those are in the from the concourse to the platform. And those will be all at the Market Street downtown stations of Embarcadero, Montgomery, Powell, and Civic Center. It's a sister project with our canopy project that Luis Paez will be administering. And that one will be installing 19 canopies over street entrances at those Market Street entrances as required by code to protect the escalators. So we are coordinating with that project very closely because we can only close one entrance at a station at a time. We know that Shimmick and you all can probably construct these escalators a lot faster than we're going to allow you, just because we need to keep entrances and thoroughfares open for public access for safety. While we're slowing them down, we would hope that all of Shimmick's subs won't slow them down or slow the others down, which will require a lot of coordination from all of you. We'll need help with getting some middles in on time, getting all of your materials and equipment ready, and we'll help you with that. And anyway, the first escalators that we'll be installing, two of those will be at our the two pilot canopies that we've already constructed in San Francisco. One at Civic Center and one at Powell Street. I think that's Powell Street escalator number 2, actually number 7, and Civic Center number 2. Then we have a platform escalator that is also going to be installed at Powell. So those will be the first 3 that will be installed in this contract. Our first 3 canopies. One will be at Civic Center, another at Powell Street in front of the Westfield Plaza, and then the last will be at Montgomery. And I think on the next slide we show some of those, don't we, Harry? Or yeah, Paul. There we go. You'll see that those are our downtown stations. Maybe it's the next slide after this. Oh, guess we don't have that one, but that's fine. I pretty much described where we're going. Maybe from here, maybe Mr. Wong can fill us in on anything I missed, and then he can cover it from here. So introducing Mr. Wen Wong of HDR.
Hi, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mark. Hi, everyone. This is Wen Huang. I'm the resident engineer representing BART and managing the construction management team for this project. In the next slide, Michael, please. We'd like to highlight some important procedures and requirements that all subcontractors should know. Point A lists some important highlights of the requirements for the watch person and the employee in charge, what we call EIC. Roadway worker protection is essential to protecting workers when they perform work on or near BART or Muni tracks. This project is not expected to have any work on the tracks, And however, while work like building construction barricades or hoisting equipment or materials for a platform escalator is performed on the BART platform or Muni platform, there's a chance that our work may encroach the safety envelope of the tracks or foul the tracks. So that's why the roadway protection training is also important. And then there are certain rules when you perform the work near the tracks, then you need to have a EIC and also the watch person working with the EIC to make sure that the crew is working safely in the environment and then where they can be protected. And also that will also protect our train operations as well. And point B on this slide is talking about the badge. Badging is required for everybody working in the BART system. Whether you work long-term or short-term, everybody needs to be, for the security of the system, we need to make sure everybody's badged ahead of time. Normally, the long-term ID takes about 2 months to process. The short-term ID, what we call C badges, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. So please make sure that you submit your badge application as soon as you can, so that we can get your person review with their background check and everything, as that takes time to process. Point C is talking about is really important aspect of our construction activities. Since our work is within the 4 operating and probably the busiest station in the BART system, our construction work needs to avoid or mitigate the impacts to the station or train operation and maintenance. For example, the use of the escalator to transport the construction materials is prohibited. So because that's not how the escalators are, designed to, for that kind of purpose. However, use of the elevator to transport materials may be allowed, but it needs to be formally requested by the contractor and approved by BART ahead of time. So please work with your client, Schindler, if you do plan to use the escalator, and then we need to review that process. Next slide, please, Michael. So these slides talk about the partnering with BART to deliver this project. One thing worth mentioning that this project would take about 10 years to complete, including 2 years of the maintenance. So this is a very long-term project. The project team, including BART, designer, consultants, whether it's a CM consultants or working with the BART staff, we would like to build a long-term positive working relationship with the contractor and the third parties for this very critical project. And therefore, we are promoting the spirit of the partnership by conducting the business in a courteous, cooperative, and professional manner. We want to make sure that everybody understands we share the same common goal. We want to move in and move out, get the job done, deliver quality work throughout the project, whether it's a paperwork or field work. And the project team is here to help. We have a great team that we've been working with European Schindler in the past year. And I think we have built a very good relationship. Whenever there's an issue identified, we try to work together and then to find a common ground and move the project along. And also, I'd also like to emphasize, other than the quality of work, I'd also like to emphasize the safety of the contractor, BART staff, and the general public is our utmost priority. While we also need to maintain the station security and access. So it's a very important aspect of working in a BART environment. And then it's always good reminder for everybody that, plan your work ahead of time and then work the plan accordingly. That's how things get done in this very complex environment. And there will be some challenges ahead of us, but I think we can work together to keep the project in a good shape in terms of managing the cost and schedule. Next slide, please. So I would like to turn over to Kate Zhang of Labor Compliance Unit with the Office of Civil Rights. She will talk about the other contract requirements. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here. Next slide, please. Good afternoon. I will be going over labor compliance requirements on BART project 15LK120A, which is a public works project. The definition of public works according to California State Labor Code 1720 is any project that is for construction, alteration, demolition, or repair that was paid for in whole or in part by public funds. Maintenance is also considered public works. As the party administering this project, BART acts as the awarding body and must ensure public funds are used appropriately and that contractors are in compliance with all labor laws. Labor Code 1726A requires that the awarding body take cognizance of violations and shall promptly report suspected violations to the Labor Commissioner. This project is also covered by a project labor agreement, which is referred to as the Major Projects Project Stabilization Agreement, which we'll talk about in a later slide. Next slide, please. Contractors of all tiers must meet the following requirements. Throughout the course of the project, contractors performing covered work must be registered with the DIR, Department of Industrial Relations, and hold a valid DIR registration number. It's important to note registration expires every year on June 30th, and you will need to re-register before it expires to keep working on any public works projects in California. Certified payroll records, also called CPRs, need to be submitted weekly to BART through the online CPR portal Elation systems, as well as to DIR. If no work was done, then the non-performance report needs to be submitted. Contractors are to maintain sign-in sheets as well as cooperate with any labor compliance site visits conducted by labor compliance staff. Contractors must pay applicable prevailing wage rate to all workers and retain records of payment. In public works, generally workers may work up to 8 hours a day to be paid straight time, and anything after would be considered overtime or double time. This is stated in the applicable prevailing wage determination rates according to the classification. Contractors must employ valid apprentices registered with the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, as well as pay training fund to an approved apprenticeship program or to the California Apprenticeship Council. Next slide, please. Now I will discuss the requirements under the Project Stabilization Agreement. The Project Stabilization Agreement is available in the contract book in its entirety. Contractors of all tiers must execute the agreement to be bound and attend pre-job conferences prior to beginning work, coordinated with the project team and the labor compliance unit. Workers need to be dispatched through union hiring halls, whether contractor is union or non-union. Pay fringe benefit contributions to the appropriate trust fund, and contribute 10 cents per worker hour to the Project Stabilization Agreement Trust Fund for referral services. There are also workforce goals under the Project Stabilization Agreement, which are as follows. Next slide, please. Local area residents, which are residents of the 5 counties, Alameda, Contra Costa, San Francisco, San Mateo, and Santa Clara counties. 50% of all hours worked on the project on a craft-by-craft basis must be performed by local area residents, and 100% of all apprentice hours worked on the project on a craft-by-craft basis must be worked by local area residents. 25% of all hours worked on the project must reside in San Francisco County, and 50% of all apprentice hours worked on the project must reside in San Francisco County. Next slide, please. And I'm going to go over BART's Certified Payroll Reports Submittal Portal, Elation system. Let's see. Share. Payroll. this is what it will generally look like. Let's see. The projects will be listed here, and the prime contractor is going to be responsible for assigning all the subcontractors. And the prime would come over here to assign the subcontractors. And okay, subcontractors will need to have their own Elation account if they do not already have an Elation account. Please reach out to SBSS if you have questions on how to set up your own Elation account. Any contracts that you have been assigned to should show up on the left-hand side over here. In order to submit certified payroll records, you will need to enter employee information here under Assign Employees. And you go into Add Employee, and there's all the information that you would need to enter. You'll need to select classification and whether the worker is a journeyman or apprentice. If the worker is an apprentice, you will need to upload the apprenticeship certificate. Once you enter and select the employees, you will need to enter fringe benefit statement, which is the next box here. And this is the, you'll need to add them manually by classification. And after the fringe benefit statement has been entered, then you're ready to submit certified payroll records. And that's under Submit CPR. CPR manual is what you will probably be using most. And it's already pre-selected at weekly. And you would select the subcontract, whatever you're assigned to will show up here, and the payroll week ending date. And you'll also select the employee. All right, and okay, select the employees and then submit when you're done with all of that. And for a final submittal, you would click the "This is my last certified payroll report." The second option is for CPR Auto. This is if you have a DIR XML file already. Right here, by default, Elation supports the DIR XML file. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably don't have it. But if you do have it, they can convert your DIR XML file, and you don't have to upload your own. If you have another system like LCP Tracker, you can contact Elation to see if they can convert it to the Elation system format. And the last one is for no work performed. If you didn't perform any work for that week, you'd go in here. You'd still have to select and input something, because we would have no way of knowing that you didn't work. And you would go in, select the subcontract, select the payroll week ending date, and you can actually also say, you know, for the next 5 weeks we didn't work, but we don't recommend that because, you know, you should be doing this week by week. Okay, certified payroll records should be input each week within 7 days of the week ending date. If you have more questions on how to use Elation, you can reach out to SBSS, or you can email me, which my contact information is in the front. Thank you. And now from Contract Compliance, Mr. Tim Lorenz.
Thanks, Kay. Yeah, my name's Tim Lorenz, and I'm the Contract Compliance Analyst for this contract, which means I'll be dealing with things like pay apps, substitutions, and looking at vendor payment tracking in B2G Now. So yeah, I can go to the next slide here. So some of the things we monitor in contract compliance includes, well, first I'll say that this is a non-federal contract. It's funded by Measure RR, which is our regional bond measure, $3.5 billion bond measure. And so, which is helping with BART's infrastructure, including escalators in downtown San Francisco. So we are looking at prompt payment to all subcontractors and suppliers. We review and approve change orders on this and all contracts. We also approve substitution requests. And we look at any complaints and investigations towards the end or at the end of the contract, which 8 or 10 years from now, we'll be looking at the release of retention form and the contract closeout. So these are all the things, and some of you on this contract are going to outlast some of us who are on the BART side, because we may be moving on to new positions or new employment. But in any case, all of these things that I'm talking about will continue as part of our policy and our program. So next slide, please. So in order to do this work, we require quite a lot of reporting from the prime contractor and in some cases from subcontractors. So one of the first, which we've already done in this case, is required, Schindler has logged on to B2G Now, and they submitted a utilization plan, which is basically listing all of the subcontracts, the amount of the subcontracts, this could include on some, in some cases, second tier firms, suppliers, etc. So part of that is that Schindler listed each of you as subcontractors and listed a contact person for B2G Now. So I have a list of the names of the 7 people. I'm not going to say them now, but if you have questions, it might be something for the Q&A to ask about who it's pointing to make sure it's the right person in your company, or we can do that offline as well to go into that level of detail. So the monthly utilization reports is something that we receive from Schindler each month. It'll list how much the invoice includes for each of the subcontractors. Includes the amount from the beginning of the contract until the current date as well. Each of you will be signing or may have already signed a subcontract with Schindler, so that's something we request of Schindler as part of our reporting. And then if we find at certain points 30% or 50%, 70% completion, we will be looking to see about Schindler's LSB, local small business commitment. So in this project, Schindler committed 6.1% of the total contract to local small businesses. So that is something we will be monitoring throughout the course of the contract to make sure that we don't fall below that 6.1%. So sometimes we could ask for an explanation. Sometimes we could ask for something more formal like a plan if the participation drops far off from that 6.1%. Next slide, please. So prompt payment, as most of you probably know, that contractors are required to pay subcontractors within 7 days of themselves being paid on public works. That's one of the 3 main reasons that we use B2G Now, because once a prime has been paid and then we have that date in our system, and then the prime will tell us when they have paid each of you as subcontractors if you're listed on that pay app, on that invoice. So B2G Now will helps us track if that occurs within 7 days time. So prompt payment also, we sometimes will receive complaints about that from subcontractors. We are able to do an investigation. So that could be a complaint about the amount or value of the work subcontracted. Sometimes some portion of the work is not included for one or more reasons. That is something that we could investigate. If it gets to be a serious situation, we are able to withhold funds from the prime if there's support by the facts. On this contract, we also have ombudsperson services, which is a third party, neutral third party that is able to help resolve any conflicts that reach a level that can't be resolved through all of the other people involved in this process. Next slide, please. Okay, so I mentioned we also look at change orders. Of course, there's going to be some change orders on a large contract like this. And so at the contract compliance unit, we are involved at an early stage. Change orders require our sign off. One of the main things we're looking for is if new work is added, is if any existing subcontractors can do that work. If not, can a local small business do that work? So those are the questions we may be asking when we're evaluating a change order. So again, we sign off on these, and we do not require the 6.1% local small business on every change order, but what we do require is that the local small business commitment maintain itself at 6.1% throughout the change order and after the change order. So that's really what we're looking for, is the big picture of local small business participation. Next slide, please. Substitutions, another big area that we monitor throughout this contract. Primes are expected to subcontract the work to who was listed at the time of the bid. That's part of California's listing law. Any additions, deletions, or substitutions of local small businesses must be approved by OCR, by contract compliance. So all of this is part of the state contracting code, section 4107. So if you're not familiar with that, they list about 7 or 8 reasons why a subcontractor can be substituted. I think it's really important information for each of you to be familiar with that portion of the California contracting code. So substitutions must be approved by OCR, and there is contract language that if you are an LSB and you are substituted, you must be substituted for another local small business, or the prime will need to have good faith efforts in that case. And at times we do investigations related to substitutions. All right, next slide, please. I'd like now to introduce Fernando Flores from our Performance and Data Analytics team. Fernando.
Thank you, Tim. My name is Fernando Flores. I work for BART's Office of Civil Rights. I work under the Performance and Data Analytics unit, and I mainly deal with B2G now. Next slide, please. So just to give you a little overview of our unit's responsibilities, we manage the B2G Now system. We set the triennial DBE goals. We review and revise the equity programs for federal and non-federal contracts. We also coordinate the Business Advisory Committee, among other data analytics and reporting. Next slide, please. So basically, B2G Now it's a system that tracks the goals and the contracts, that monitors the subcontractor utilization by looking at the payments. So we're able to tell ahead of time whether a prime is meeting the goal, whether it's in the right track, or should we notify them and let them know that they need to take a corrective action. The system also allows the subcontractor to confirm any payments the prime states it made to them, as well as a prompt payment. And also we track the commercial useful function through this system, among other things. Please, next slide, please. So this is a requirement per the contract book under supplementary condition 9.7.2. The first step is a prime must submit the utilization plan, which Tim already mentioned, Schindler already did. which is basically let us know the subs they're going to be utilizing, whether they count or not towards a goal, whether there are suppliers, first, second, or third tier subs. This system needs to be updated on the monthly basis with all the subcontractor payments. Failure to comply can result in withholding payments. Next slide, please. This is just a little screenshot of the actual landing page of B2G Now. When you're a first-time user, instead of logging in, the first thing to do will be to go to our account lookup. And there you'll enter your name, last name, email address, and the system will find you and prompt you to create a password. Please note that this system, since it's a third-party system, also has its own webinars and training. So you're free to log in and schedule any of the trainings that the system has to offer. Also, this system is used by some of the major transit agencies in the US. So it's not just BART, it's LA Metro, City of Chicago, New York Metro, and so on. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned before, in this system, we can see who the subs are, whether they are certified or not, as DBE, MBE, SB with the DGS, local small business, LSB, and we can continue tracking the goals throughout this system. Next slide, please. So in here, this is just a little screenshot of when a prime is submitting a payment to a sub. It will enter the date, the amount it was paid, any details such as a check number or the fact that the payment includes several invoices. And based on the date, it will also let the sub know whether they got paid within the 7 days from them being paid. So that's how we are able to track the prompt payment. Also, the sub must confirm the payment stated by the prime. They can always disagree and create a discrepancy and let us know that something is off with the numbers, or I did not get paid this, I did get paid, and so on. Next slide, please. So in here, this is just a quick example of what a discrepancy looks like, where the sub, in this case, sub-flooring, is claiming that they didn't get paid or that they got paid more than $100. And then it is up to the prime to resolve the issue. And if that doesn't happen, then BART will step in and try to clarify the discrepancy. Next slide, please. So just a little overview on how the system works. The prime is registered. Every time BART pays a prime, the system picks up the payment date and it notifies the subs that the prime has been paid. Then the prime must enter a payment amount to the sub for X month or months. The system then will notify the sub that the prime is stating that they paid them X amount. Then the sub can log in and confirm or create a discrepancy for the system. Now, the beauty of this is that we know that some of these small businesses sometimes don't have someone to manage their B2G Now account, so they can always access it through text message and just confirm via text message. That makes it easier for a lot of the subs. And this also works for transparency, so that it shows that everyone is being utilized, everyone is being paid. And eventually, if you have any questions towards the end of the presentation, you'll be able to ask me more about B2G Now. One more, next slide, please. So in here, same story, just a little overview. It tracks the contract progress based on the payments made from BART to the prime. And then for credit, we will be able to see where the prime is at in relations to meeting the goal. In the case that they're not meeting the goal, the OCR analyst more than likely will set milestones in the system, and they will want to check when the prime has been paid 40%, 60%, 80%, just to make sure we are able to catch a prime not meeting the goal ahead of time and try to get a corrective action. Again, this system has many reporting tools, We also utilize it to report to the FDA on the semi-annual basis. We can track by ethnicity, gender, and many other things. Next slide, please. This is just a little snapshot of how the audit history looks like. Like on October 2012, BART did not pay the prime, so you can see in red that it's not reported. And then below it, you can see how much the prime is being paying, the BART has been paying the primes. And then we can see whether subs are confirming payments or not. As we get into it, it just gets easier. Next slide, please. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hand the presentation to Schindler, and they'll discuss the contract.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt Gopel with Schindler. I'm going to be the project manager and superintendent on the project. Also with us is Cynthia Cuevas. She'll also be on the project as a project manager. So we will be your day-to-day contacts. If you could, please go to the next slide. Today, we'll just talk about our project organization, overview of safety. We'll touch on the badging process from the prime's point of view, project overview, the small business partnerships, and project administration. If you could please go to the next slide. As you know, you've been introduced to the BART CM team. For Schindler, like I said, I will be myself and Cynthia will be the day-to-day contacts as project managers on this project. We also have another gentleman named Martin Prenner who will be the quality control manager out in the field. And Brad Lay is the general manager located out of the San Leandro office. Next slide, please. Badges, most of you will probably be getting a C badge. Most of your work will be for just a few weeks, maybe at a time. And we're going to be going in about 6-month cycles where we're going to be starting new escalators about every 6 months. So we will give you ample time and notice of when we'll want you on site. And we'll kind of be engaging you to get the badges. Like I said, most likely a C badge or the temporary badge. Also, we have a injury and illness prevention program in place. It's been reviewed and approved. So we will send that out to everybody. That'll be the guidelines for the safety program. And if you have your own safety program that you follow, you can certainly submit that to us and we can review it. And we're going to require JHAs to be done by every trade, every day. That'll be a daily thing. Also, we'll provide a safety orientation prior to going out to the job site. It's probably something we will renew on a yearly basis. So we'll get that going here in the next few months. And then the BART RWP and Muni RWP training. Most of you will not have to go through that, but again, if that's a requirement, we will engage you and schedule you for having that training completed. Next slide, please. Again, the badging process, the C badges can take up to a few weeks to get approved. So Cynthia and myself, we will send you those applications in plenty of time. We will ask you we'll probably give you a few months notice of when we're going to be on site and then send you the C badge where we'll ask you to have your expected crew fill that out, send it back to us, and we will process with BART. If we do require you to get a long-term badge, you will have to go perform a live scan either at the BART PD station or a third-party vendor. We will help you locate something that's close to either your shop or your crew's homes. So we'll help you along with that as well. All badges must be on the person at all times and visible. So if you have safety vests, please keep it in the clear pocket so that anyone in the station can see that badge. Next slide, please. So we're expecting to be on site for the first phase here at the end of July. I know the date on this slide's a little bit off, but like Mark and Wen had said, we're going to be starting with PAL S7. That's the street escalator at PAL that has the canopy built around it. And also PAL P4, a platform escalator at the same station, as well as Civic Center S2. Again, that's the Civic Center unit that has the canopy already built. So being that we're going to be on site here starting at the end of July, we're probably going to be engaging a lot of you to get these C badges in. We'll go through the safety orientation and get prepped to be out on site. Next slide, please. This is the second phase. Again, you can see we're going to be at Montgomery S9, PAL, Montgomery P5, and PAL P2. Most of these phases will be between 2 and 5 escalators at a time. Most of them are around 3. So again, it's about a 6-month phase. So every 6 months, we're going to be kind of starting over, doing the same type of work over and over again until 2027. Next slide, please. We can skip this slide as well, please. And this one, sorry. And this one. We won't go too far into the phasing schedule. That we can discuss that as a group later on. But we are participating in the local small businesses on this project. Our original goal was 6%. Our bid day commitment was 6.1%. Part of this process, we participated in pre-bid LSB networking matchmaking session that BART hosted. It's where we met some of our subcontractors that are actually on this job. So it was a great networking session, and we were glad to be a part of it. Next slide, please. Payment applications to Schindler. Please have them in by the 15th of each month. They should roll from the 15th of the previous month to the 14th of that month. We have the 7-day prompt payment of when Schindler gets paid as the prime, but as many of you are local small businesses, we're not going to hold your invoicing until we get paid, most likely. We will just process them as a normal invoice and get you paid as quickly as possible, whether Schindler gets paid by BART or not. But part of that will be up to you subs of keeping the certified payroll up to date and the B2G reporting up to date. And if we do that, then we should have no issues issuing you payment in a prompt manner. We also ask that you include all the lien waivers with your invoicing. And when we go out to the job site, we'll probably request your insurance certificate just to make sure everything is still valid. Next slide, please. RFIs, submittals, site-specific work plans. Most of this stuff will be managed by us as Schindler. So if you have RFIs or submittals, please get them into us so that we can get them into BART for review. It will take a minimum of 30 days through that process to get an answer for anything that you're looking for. So please stay on top of that, but we will try and manage that as best as possible as the prime. The SSWPs, we will be completing those on your behalf. So if there's things that need to be handled on site, they cannot be done without being in the SSWP. So when we engage you to come out onto the job, we'll be also going over the work plan that we've probably already have approved and reviewed. So at that time, we'll give you any approved SSWPs and ask you to follow those to the best of the ability. Next slide, please. Again, this is just a more site-specific work plan stuff. And some of the things that we may request from you to fill this out is basically just the means and methods of what you're going to do. And then we need to capture that in the SSWP and submit it to the BART. Next slide, please. And now I think we'll move on to a Q&A session.
Thank you, Matt. Are there any questions? Anything that any of the subs would like to address specifically? Well, you can. Well, let's see. I guess, Laura, if we could possibly, I guess, maybe unmute everyone or the subcontractors at this point, in case there are questions. I don't see. Well, I see a few questions. I see a question in regard to the.
One thing I wanted to mention, we are going to hold Elation's a little more formal Elation training later on when we get closer to the on-site dates. And I believe the B2G training has the training sessions you can take online. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of those resources.
Great. Thank you. I guess if I can just start off, if I might just ask, just to confirm which subcontractors are represented in the meeting, is I guess a representative of Vintage Elevator with us? I take it that's a yes. I didn't hear all of that.
Yes, this is Jerry, Vintage Elevator.
Okay, great. Hello, thank you. And what about Bowers Electric?
Yeah, this is Daryl Bowers with Bowers Electric.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Travertine Elevator. Okay, great. And what about Best Test Labs?
Hi, this is Carmen with the Best Test Lab.
Oh, hello, Carmen. Okay, thank you. CMC Traffic Controls. Okay, and what about Asbestos Management Group?
Yes, this is Caesar with Asbestos Management Group.
Okay, great, thank you. Are any of you new to BART work? Are any of you first-time BART subcontractors?
Yes, I'm Jesse Vidrio, a painter. I'm new to BART as a contractor.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad to meet you and make your acquaintance. I mean, needless to say, we are here to assist you. If there's anything, questions that you have, that's good to know. It seems like everybody else is familiar. Anybody else that's new to BART?
Vintage Elevator, we have a little bit of past experience with BART, but just in the service type business.
Okay. Oh, you said and that was in what Vintage? Was that Gary? Or Jerry? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah, I remember speaking to you. We had a nice conversation.
Yeah, we had a discussion the other day. Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, great. So I've sent everybody a little information, a little background information about our program and about our services. Again, this is your chance to introduce yourself or ask your PM or Schindler any specific questions.
Hey Harry, this is
Hey,
Mike.
Harry, it looks like a
Correa.
few questions
There's a-
have come in the chat.
Yeah, there's a question up here. It says, who is the B2G now contact for trafficking?
Okay, I just look at it. For travertine, it's let me see, Courtney Bridges. That's a person listed for B2G now.
Okay, thank you. That was a question from Liz in the group chat.
Oh, okay. Yes, Liz, it's Courtney Bridges.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'll ask my colleague Lori. Lori, is that correct? Should it be Courtney? Or do you need to be the contact for B2G? Lori, are you there? I think she is there. She's just probably having some audio issues. I guess I can confirm with that and let Cynthia know.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
My contact information is in the PowerPoint slide. Feel free to email me if you would like me to change the user. That's something minor and easy to do.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, looks like we have another question from Jay Vidrio. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
Yes. Yes, the question is, as a subcontractor, I need to report payments from Schindler to compliance management system. That's a question.
Yeah, so I see two questions from Jay Vidrio. As a subcontractor, do I need to report payments? The answer is yes. If you are utilizing a second tier sub, then you have to report their payments in B2G now. As a subcontractor, payments from Schindler, no, you do not need to report them. You are gonna get an email asking you to confirm that you got paid.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
So are there any other questions that anyone else may have? Well, then I think that may conclude our workshop. I hope that has helped everybody become more familiar with the process, with the general contractors, with the CM team, and with those who are monitoring the contract. I want to thank Mark Dana, I'm sorry, and Win Hong from the CM team for their participation, along with everybody from OCR, from the various departments. I want to thank Kay and Tim and Fernando for presenting their information. And with that, please be safe as we work through this era of social distancing. And again, I'm Harry Overstreet. If you have any questions, issues, or concerns with your project, please feel free to reach out to me. And that's it. And have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.